prophecy, the word of Adonai concerning Israel. Here is the message from Adonai, who stretched out the heavens, laid the foundation of the earth, formed the spirit inside of human beings. I will make Jerusalem a cup that will stagger the surrounding peoples. Even Yehuda will be caught up in the siege against Jerusalem. When that day comes, I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the peoples. All who try to lift it will hurt themselves, and all the earth's nations will be massed against her. When that day comes, says Adonai, I will stretch out all the horses. I will strike all the horses with panic, all their riders with madness. I will keep watch over Yehuda, but I will strike blind all the horses of the peoples. The leaders of Yehuda will say to themselves, those living in Jerusalem are my strength, through Adonai's vote, their God. When that day comes, I will make the leaders of Yehuda like a blazing fire pan in a pile of wood, like a fiery torch among sheaves of grain. They will devour all the surrounding peoples on the right and on the left. Jerusalem will be inhabitant in her own place, Jerusalem. Adonai will save the tents of Yehuda first, so that the glory of the house of David and the glory of those living in Jerusalem will not appear greater than that of Yehuda. When that day comes, Adonai will defend those living in Jerusalem. On that day, even someone who stumbles will be like David. The house of David will be like God, like the angel of Adonai before them. When that day comes, I will seek to destroy all nations attacking Jerusalem. I will pour out the house of David and those living in Jerusalem a spirit of grace and prayer. And they will look to me whom they pierced. They will mourn for him as one mourns for an only son. They will be in bitterness on his behalf, like the bitterness for his firstborn. When that day comes, there will be a great mourning in Jerusalem, mourning like that of Hadad Rimmon in the Megiddo Valley. Then the land will mourn, each family by itself, and the family of the house of David by itself, and their wives by themselves, and the family of the house of Natan by itself, and their wives by themselves, and the family of the house of Levi by itself, and their wives by themselves, the family of Shimei by itself, and their wives by themselves, all the remaining families each by itself, and their wives by themselves. When that day comes, a spring will be opened for the house of David, the people living in Jerusalem, to cleanse them from the sin and impurity. When that day comes, says Adonai's vote, I will cut off the very names of the idols from the land, so that no one even remembers them anymore. I will also expel the false prophets and the spirit of uncleanliness from the land, so that if anyone continues to prophesy, his own father and mother who brought him into the world will tell him, you cannot continue to live because you are speaking lies in the name of Adonai. Then his own father and mother who brought him into the world will stab him to death. When that day comes, each one of the prophets will be shamed by his vision. When his prophecies, he will stop wearing his cloak to deceive people, and instead he will say, I am not a prophet. I just work the soil. Since my youth, I have only wanted to be an ordinary man. If someone asks him, what are these gashes between your shoulders? He will answer, I got hurt at my friend's house. Awake, sword against my shepherd, against the people who is close to me, says Adonai Sabaoth. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. I will turn my hand against the young ones. In time throughout that land, says Adonai, 2/3 of those in it will be destroyed. They will die, but 1/3 will remain. Two-third part I will bring through fire. I will refine them as silver is refined. I will test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, this is my people. And they will say, Adonai is my God. Look, day is coming for Adonai. When you are plundered, Jerusalem will be divided. Right there within you, for I will gather all nations against Jerusalem for war. The city will be taken, the house will be rifled. The women will be raped. Half the city will go into exile. But the rest of the people will not be cut off from the city. And then Adonai will go out and fight against those nations, fighting as on a day of battle. On the day when his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which lies the east of Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives will be split in half, from east to west, to make a huge valley. Half of the mountain will be toward the north, and half of it will be toward the south. You will flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains will reach to Ezel. You will flee, just as you fled before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah the king of Yehuda. Then Adonai my God will come to you with all the holy ones. On that day there will be neither bright light nor thick darkness. On that day known to Adonai will be neither day nor night, although by evening there will be light. On that day fresh water will flow out of Jerusalem, half toward the eastern sea and half toward the western sea, both summer and winter. Then Adonai will be king over the whole earth. On that day Adonai will be the only one, and his name will be the only name. All the land will be made like Arava, from Giva to Rimmon and then the Negev. Jerusalem will be raised up and inhabited where she is, from Benjamin's gate to the place where the earlier gate stood, and on the corner gate from the tower of Hananel and the king's winepress. People will live there, the curse will be broken, Jerusalem will live in safety. Adonai will strike all the peoples who made war against Jerusalem with a plague, in which their flesh rots away while they are standing on their feet. Their eyes rot away in their sockets, and their tongues rot away in their mouths. When that day comes, there will be among them great panic, sent by Adonai, so that everyone lays hands on his neighbor who, in turn, attacks him. Yehuda, too, will fight against Jerusalem, and the wrath of all the nations will be assembled. And the wealth of all the nations will be assembled, gold, silver, clothing, and great abundance. A plague like this among all will also affect horses, mules, camels, donkeys, and all other animals in those camps. Finally, everyone remaining from all the nations that came to attack Jerusalem will go up every year to worship the King Adonai Sabaoth and to keep the festival of Sukkot. And if any of those families in the earth does not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King Adonai Sabaoth, no rain will fall on them. If the family of Egypt doesn't go up, if they refuse to come, they will have no anel flowing from the Nile. Moreover, there will be a plague which Adonai will strike the nations that will go up to keep the festivals of Sukkot. This will be the Egyptians' punishment, the punishments of all the nations that go up to keep the festival of Sukkot. When that day comes, this will be written in the bells, worn by the horses, consecrated to Adonai, and the cooking pots in the house of Adonai will be as holy as the sprinkling bowls before the altar. Yes, every cooking pot in Jerusalem and Yehuda will be consecrated to Adonai Sabaoth. Everyone who offers sacrifices will come. Take them and use them to stew the meat. When that day comes, there will no longer be merchants in the house of Adonai Sabaoth.